here today at the League of Cities with Scott. Scott, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us why you're here at the League of Cities?
Well, I'm at the League of Cities because you invited me.
I did.
So I heard that there was jam at the
And
League
toast.
of California Cities and Toast. And I was like, I'm going to get out there right now and check this out.
Go get it.
And then the other thing going on in the convention center, obviously the Taylor Swift surprise concert for the new album is going on here.
Awesome. Nobody knew. Showgirls is going to be here.
Showgirls here, so it's on. So I thought I'd catch that on the side. But just
it's
out here checking out League. I've never been to the big League of California Cities convention, so it's really interesting to see all the programming they have and all the booths that are set up out here. So I thought I'd come stick my nose around while I'm at it.
Awesome. Well, you're also here to talk a little bit about the City of Murrieta and the Innovation Center that you have at the City of Murrieta.
We love the Innovation Center, and I can't wait to talk about it.
So what does that entail? What is the Innovation Center, and who do you serve?
Great question. So the Innovation Center serves everybody, but it's got a very specific purpose. So the Innovation Center is our first city hall. So when we formed as a city, our first city hall was used for several years, and about 10 years ago we stopped using it, moved into our new location as we grew.
Right.
And this is the plight of cities. You keep growing, and now we've outgrown our current city hall, and we have an annex across the street, and we need to grow again.
Growing.
But, fortunately, when the city hall became vacant, all the departments could have used it for something, and we were so lucky that the city council at the time decided to use it for economic development because we're a growing city, and we need to grow our economy. When Murrieta formed, it was primarily as a bedroom community where people were commuting to mainly San Diego County, even a little bit to Orange County. I've met people who
kind of
commute
right
to
in the
LA
middle.
County.
We were having that conversation this morning.
We are. When you look at a map of Southern California, we are the smack dab center of Southern California.
Everything. The center of everything.
So when you're in that kind of location, you get a little bit of traffic, you get a little bit of commutership, and our goal is to stop it. Okay. And the only way to really stop it isn't to wait for California to build more freeway lanes. They're not in the habit of doing that, or to wait for infrastructure to change or for people's habits to change. It's really to build jobs. And if you can build jobs that give people the opportunity to work at home, then you're doing something that gives them the choice to not be on the freeway.
And not just any jobs, not
just any jobs.
That's
why they have to be jobs that match your community.
Right.
If your community is low wage, then you don't want high-paid jobs that don't match your community. You do because you might attract people in, but you really want to try to find the match for your community. So in our case, 16% of our workforce is in healthcare.
Right.
And a lot of people commute to some of the major biotech labs and healthcare facilities in San Diego County. Why not just bring healthcare here? And so, all the planning for this started years ago when we started rezoning some of our land to really encourage medical office space, and we were lucky enough to have Loma Linda University Medical Center build the first campus outside of San Bernardino County in Murrieta. Right. And Kaiser to start their campus, which now has a medical office building and an ambulatory surgery center. And the next step for them is a full hospital, and Rady Children's Health coming to Murrieta, and we already had a UHS hospital. We definitely have
a lot of healthcare in Murrieta.
A lot of healthcare. So focusing on that has helped to grow that industry, and what you see is that can get you so far, healthcare services. But our idea with the Innovation Center is, why can't we grow healthcare technologies? Why can't we do what they're doing in San Diego and Massachusetts and Dallas and Silicon Valley, all these other places where you see really great biotech growth? Why not us? And we've got the educated workforce. We really are an offshoot of San Diego. And a lot of people that move here want the same things they wanted there. They just want a little more space to raise a family.
Right.
So what Murrieta's got going for it is we're the third safest city in the country, given FBI statistics. We have a wonderful educational infrastructure system. We've got a very high educated workforce. We have the workforce to help businesses get started. Why not start doing this here? Now, the only thing we don't have is a university right in Murrieta, a major university. That's usually what you have when you do these kinds of things.
That's the combination that puts it all together.
Yeah,
but I believe some of those are on the way in the near future, too.
It's always being worked on. So this building was granted to economic development to use as an incubator, and we started working in the beginning kind of loosely on just getting business startups.
Right.
Over time, we've really steered our focus towards biotech, meaning that we're looking for healthcare medical technology companies that are doing new concepts, research and development, getting businesses started, and we're here to assist them and get them going. And what we found is, with our first major tenant was Murrieta Genomics.
Okay.
There were no genomic labs in Riverside County at the time. This was like the first one coming in, and we were so lucky they called it Murrieta Genomics. The three principals of that business all lived in Murrieta and Temecula.
But they were traveling all over else.
They were going to San Diego. They were working out of UC San Diego.
Right.
And they built a lab in our building, and we let them build a lab in our building, so they got the savings from it. And we met with them the first time. We met with their investors, and we brought in all 4 of the major hospital groups. And we all sat down in a room and talked about what it would look like to have genomics in the city and how they could work together. And when we were done, the investor called me the next day and said, "Was that for real?" I said, "No, we staged the whole thing for your benefit. The hospitals were all kidding.
Right.
They were all paid actors." No, this was legitimate. There is a market for you here. And so they decided to make the investment and get that company started. And that's been a great anchor tenant, because there are so many other medical companies that want to use genetic testing to prove their concept, that they help other medical companies get started. And so we had enough success in that space. And it sounds small, but we would have something like 10 to 15 businesses at a time incubating there, which is actually substantial. It's when you look at the incubator world, UCLA probably has a dozen incubating right now. It's a big deal when you get companies started that are starting to grow and work with you. So at any time we'll have, let's say somewhere around 13 companies going. And we were so successful with it that we started getting interest from the federal government, who during COVID wanted to really focus on job creation.
Right.
And they started looking for, we've always been told, because Murrieta's incomes are so high, our average family income is $142,000, that we'd never get a grant.
It's an ideal community, yeah.
It's a perfect
Right, and
community.
you're not going to get a grant because it's too
But they
wealthy.
don't fund those.
Right.
They look for census tracts that have really low wage because they think that's where you can make the most improvement. The challenge we've always explained to them is we have so much commutership that we have people having to travel to make that money.
Right.
And that's not ideal. So even though we have this wonderful idyllic community, we have some challenges. And that challenge is, how do we turn that traffic count around, and how do we build those new jobs here so people can live and have a good quality of life there? And during COVID, when job creation was the focus, that's when they said, okay, let's do a grant. We managed to get a U.S. Department of Commerce grant for $3 million, which is the largest grant of that type they give. It's the same one that they invested in UC Irvine with. And they were very interested in that comparable in the way that we've run our city. And they're both very safe cities and both have a really good demographic for a company or for an investment like this. And so we got that grant, and that was enough to get us started. But then we also got $2.5 million from the County of Riverside, who was looking to invest in the cities that were doing the real work of innovation and entrepreneurship. And so since we've been putting in the work for so many years, bootstrapping it with almost nothing.
It was time to get a little assistance.
Yes. And so altogether you get $5.5 million. Now there's something substantial going on.
Yeah.
And now we've got something really cool going on right now, for example, with some of the county money, which isn't, the federal money is really used for the construction of a new wet lab. They're going to put in a wet lab. They're going to put in a dry lab, which is basically the computer modeling space, all new offices, and make it really competitive with the other incubators out there. It sounds silly because when companies come in, we're raising our prices a little bit, but right now it's $1 a year to lease space in our lab.
Oh, wow.
In our
That's
medical
a great
offices.
rate.
It's great because the goal is to start the businesses, not to soak them dry.
Right, yes.
And so
to give them an opportunity to have a good, strong foundation.
Get yourself going. Startups need every penny they can get.
Right.
And so we're very cheap, but I've had startups come into our space before we did this, redesign this construction we're doing right now, and say, oh my goodness, is this all we get? And they're paying $1 a year.
Oh my goodness.
And that sounds a little haughty-taughty, but it's actually not, because when you get into startup space, there's a big competition to get businesses to where you are. And most of them now are used to being wooed and used to having people fight over them.
Right.
And so they'll go, well, Texas is offering me this, and this state is offering me this. And so how does California compete? And we've got to find ways. Now, first of all, our number one competitive advantage is we've got 26 million people in a couple-hour radius, depending on what time of day you're driving.
Right.
And it's a concentrated, wealthy region in Southern California that you're reaching like the pinnacle market. But other than that, we've got to make it really attractive for companies to come and land and get started. And so we do a lot of work with the U.S. Department of Commerce through what they call Select USA, which is the largest international recruitment event there is.
Right.
And the whole goal of Select USA is to bring international startups, international capital, international investment to the United States.
Into the United States, yeah.
And so, and I'm sure you know him, Patrick Ellis, who heads the Chamber of Commerce,
Yep.
also manages the Innovation Center for the city. So we have a contract with his nonprofit, Impact Riverside County, to manage the building for us. They run the day-to-day operations, because you never want government
That's a
running
great
day-to-day
collaboration with the chamber and the city.
It absolutely is. And actually, Impact, Patrick's organization, is a co-grantee on the grants that we were talking about. So they're on both the federal grant with us, and they're a partner on the Riverside County grant. But he and I are a part of the California delegation with the Governor's Office of Business and Economic Development, GoBiz, and we go up to DC every year, and we act on behalf of the state of California to bring international companies to California.
Right.
Now, we meet a lot of companies, and we're really focused on the medical companies. So when they're
Right.
medical, that's when we really try to bring them to Murrieta. And every year we come back with a company.
Very nice.
And this year we are, and I think it might even be today, about to sign our second one this year out of that event, a second international company that's looking to come to Murrieta and start their business. We've got some that are actually, they go from coming into the building as either a virtual tenant or a incubator tenant, and actually move to site selecting to build facilities. So we have a company right now that's site selecting to build a major facility for their company.
Even better, right?
Yeah, this
Not
is
just
the goal.
incubating, but actually building
Yeah.
and becoming
Well-
part of the community, which Murrieta is all about community.
Yeah, well, we are all about community, and that kind of ties into how we run our incubator, because when people come to us and say, why should we pick you? And I'll generally say, look, you can go to markets like LA and San Francisco and San Diego, but they don't have time for you. We do.
Right.
We will actually be there with you. We'll facilitate connections. We'll help you with investment. We do these little cute, kitschy things like every year our incubator takes a roadshow trip where we drive up to Silicon Valley and we do an investor event for our startups. And then we
Nice.
keep our startups with us and watch them and then drive them back so they don't try to steal them, because Silicon Valley likes to steal startups. So we do a lot of work to try to give them the opportunity,
Right.
but let them incubate in a place that's not so competitive as, when you're up in San Francisco, it's a fishbowl.
Oh.
Hyper
Yeah,
expensive.
you're really, really competitive arena there.
Oh, and hyper competitive, absolutely. So we try to create every opportunity for these companies to get seen, get known, get investment, but also start in our community where it's affordable. And wow, they're moving all kinds. This is an active hall, I got to tell you.
It is.
So
it is.
so there's a lot of
we have
effort
good,
that goes
We have
in.
good microphones though, so it's.
Oh,
gonna
so
pick
everything's
it-
going to be
yep.
okay? So the crowd can't hear all the noise
No.
that's going on in the backdrop. Just so you know, there's like trash trucks moving through the convention center right now. It's gone wild. So yeah, in a nutshell, we've got an incubator that's got great tenants that I think you're going to see some real success out of. We've already had companies that have sprung board out of the center into the community. We have some that are working to do it right now. And we've actively not been recruiting anybody except international tenants for the last year, because we didn't want people who were here in person, because we knew we were going to be a construction zone.
Right.
So we're under construction right now. The building has been ripped to shreds, and it is completely being rebuilt with the lab. And the lab's going to have a big open bench space where people can do R&D, but there's also going to be private labs. So for people that have maybe some companies that need a little more privacy and their
Right.
IP may be a little more sensitive, they'll
Right.
have a space where they can work in separately.
Nice.
And this is a really important, nothing like this exists in our region. And so we're so excited about it. We anticipate having the work done by the end of the year. There's always some touch-ups that need to be done. So maybe January, February, we'll start talking about when we're going to open up. But it's
Right.
going to be right in that time, and it's going to be beautiful. This is now
Very
going to
exciting.
be competitive.
That's very excited.
Yeah.
Exciting. So thank you so much for coming here and talking about the Innovation Center. How would somebody find out more information on how to get involved or just learn a little bit more about the Innovation Center?
Absolutely. So the Murrieta Innovation Center has a website. Just look up, and I'm going to get it wrong right now. You got me on the spot here. But if you can either link to it through the City of Murrieta's website,
Okay.
or if you Google Murrieta Innovation Center, boom, it's right there. We have an active website. There's also a newsletter that goes out that people can find out about it from. And I'm Scott Agajanian, Economic Development Director for the City of Murrieta. And you can call me anytime at my cell number, 951-640-4161, and I will fill you in on everything and tell you where to get the information.
Well, that should give everybody anything that they need to find out more about the Murrieta
I
Innovation
hope so.
Center. Any final thoughts?
Well, I just want to say this. I think The Fate of Ophelia is the best song on the album, but the
I
last
would
song
agree.
with Sabrina Carpenter, the Showgirl song, really, really good.
Knocked
There's
it out of the
plenty of
park.
good ones on there. I think some people have been knocking her down, but it's generally been pretty good. And while you're at it, everyone, watch the new Naked Gun. Great movie.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.